Thank you all for joining us. We've got an interesting session today where we're going to be taking you through what is RCS, making sure that everyone understands really what we're talking about and what the opportunity is. We've got a great brand. We have Picard joining us on stage with Sinch. We'll be looking at some of the real-world case studies, and I believe we're on the second or third evolution even of some of the case studies that they run. So should be a great panel today. And of course, we have Amelia and Jan from Google as well. So we have Amelia from Orange, sorry. So we'll be talking about why RCS is so important with regards to the mobile operator ecosystem and how they're working with Google. So let's just see if we've got everyone mic'd up. How are we doing? I think maybe a little bit longer. We're not too far off there. So I think really what I'd like to say, we are at a very exciting time with RCS. I think this year we're going to see, we've seen traffic increase over the last year. We've seen the number of brands that have been using the channel. And of course, this year we have the big outlier. We have perhaps towards the tail end of this year, we could have a very different situation on our hands with what happens with Apple. So certainly looking forward to that. How are we set? Are we set to... We good? Yeah, well, actually, Virginia, if you would like to come up on stage, Amelia and Alex, it'd be much appreciated. Do take a seat. Oh yeah, here's the clicker for you, and we have Jan as well. Yeah, this is it. Well, I think we're gonna start with a bit of a presentation. So I'll be quiet. I'll sit down and let you guys take over.
Yes, thank you. Would you like to be with me, Alex?
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Virginie Debris. I'm the MD messaging at Sinch, in charge of all the messaging products that Sinch has. So let us go through just a very quick introduction. So this one is about the panel. Would you like to go through the panelists there?
If we have
at the moment?
Oh yeah, perfect. There we go. Look at that. Oh, look, here's the one with RCS expert on it. No, anyway, so
yes,
so first of all, we have Amelia Newsom Davis from Orange. Thank you very much for joining us. We have Jan Jedrzejewicz.
Pretty close.
Nearly did it. And Virginie Debris and also Alex Bethon from Picard. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today.
So I excuse you, by the way, the two of you not to be French. This is a French. This is a French-speaking panel for most of it. So anyway, a little bit about Picard, maybe you would like to take it, Alex?
So, hi everyone. So, about Picard. So, Picard is a French retailer specialized in quality frozen food. So, we have over 1,100 shops in France. The brand operates in 18 countries all around the world. In 2022, we were named France's favorite food retailer, so an amazing year for us. And also in 2022, Picard reinvented its loyalty program, now named Picard and Nous, which means Picard and Us. And the mission of Picard is to continually nurturing the love of good food in local communities.
And Picard is usually, in France, it's very well known. Yeah. It's usually saving my life on a daily basis because I'm not a great cooker. I'm not very good at logistics. So Picard is really helping us daily. Anyway, so about Sinch, 700 billion plus engagements per year, 150,000 plus customers worldwide. We connect to every mobile on the planet more than seven times per year. 200 billion messages per year as well, 300 billion voice minutes, and 400 billion emails. So Sinch is really a CPaaS with all those channels available and quite extensively used, as you can see there. Let's move on to the story.
Yeah, of course. So just before to talk about the case study, I think it could be interesting to share with you our main goals. So the first one for Picard is to generate website and in-store traffic in order to increase our turnover. But also we want to provide unique content to increase loyalty of our customer. And finally, we want also to boost engagement during the Christmas holiday with our client to boost sales, of course. So if we talk about the personal shopper, so this campaign was in Christmas 2022. You have to know that Christmas is crucial for Picard because it represents 25% of our annual sales. So we want to get an opportunity to attract our customers and retain them. So when Sinch suggested to us RCS, we didn't hesitate because it was perfect for us. So you have to know that RCS offers branded messages with verified IDs for trust and security. And trust and security are something really important for our customers. It also provides insights for opening rate, and it's really important for us because we can monitor better our campaign after that. On Personal Shopper 2022, we also realized a rich SMS campaign for non-compatible RCS devices. So it was a landing page with the chatbot on it. So now, if we talk a bit more about the Personal Shopper with the chatbot, it enables customization for Christmas meals. So based on preferences, yeah, you have
Sorry, was too quick.
Just here. If you have dietary restriction, if you prefer to do, it's just a slide after. Yes, perfect.
Sorry. I'm not even good as a clicker, you see.
So there, yeah, you can see. Not this one. Sorry. Just before. Yeah. So we were on the good slide. Sorry, my bad. And for this personal shopper, you can decide of the perfect menu for Christmas that you want. If you have dietary restriction about your cooking skill level, or if you prefer a traditional or an original menu. So RCS was perfect for us because with that we can have enriched content with GIFs on it, but also animated characters from 160 to 400 characters, so huge, and also CTAs directly in the messages. So if we talk now about the KPIs, with the RCS campaign, the click-through rate was 3 times higher than the rich SMS. So really impressive results. Also, the consumer engagement was 42% higher than the rich SMS, despite a smaller target population for the RCS messaging. And also, we get 10% more redirection with the RCS messaging.
Shall I go next?
Yeah. And after, so the second campaign was in Christmas 2023, again for Christmas because, as you can know, it's a huge time for us. And we wanted to capitalize on 2022 performance for 2023 activation. This time, it was not what can I say?
To what?
Increase the turnover, but really to highlight a commercial offer. So the commercial offer was 20% of discount on appetizer for Christmas. This time also we used rich SMS, and we achieved a wonderful 70% of right click. So really nice campaign, and also 18% of read rate. So it's 2.4 more than the rich SMS campaign. So really amazing campaign again. And I think that's it I can say about the case.
Mm-hmm. I think just to make sure that everybody understands what rich SMS is, that's an SMS with that link where people can click on, and then they get the same experience as a rich message, right? That's also the way what we do, and we're going to talk through that in the panel probably, but what we do then at Sinch in order to ensure that, waiting for potentially Apple to support it in these upcoming months, That's the way we do it to ensure that the campaigns would reach 100% of the handsets. We just fall back when the handset is not RCS capable. We are just fall back on an SMS with that rich link so that people can have the same experience. Just wanted to clarify that. Yeah. Floor is yours, Michael. I stop with the clicking.
No. Thank you very much. Well, actually, I'm going to put that as well, just so I don't end up doing the same thing, right? Right, well, Gino, thank you very much. They were really, really interesting case studies, and great to see how RCS is being used out in the wild there. So I'd like to go to Amelia, if that's okay. And I mean, we've seen some great examples there of RCS being used in France. I know France is quite an evolved market, it's probably fair to say, for RCS. It's been there, certainly in a commercial sense, probably one of the longest markets. What was Orange, how do you see RCS evolving? How have you seen it progress in the last year, and how do you see that moving forwards this year?
Yeah, well, I think maybe Sinch a better place to comment on how it's growing in France compared to other markets, but I'm told by Google France is one of the leading RCS markets in Europe. We've seen growth about 400% on 2023 versus previous year. So we're looking at about 100 brands who are using RCS regularly now, RBM, we should say, RCS business messaging. So it's growing fast. Lots of recurrence, which is always a really good sign. So brands that are coming back and doing more campaigns, using it regularly.
And I mean, are you seeing it now? Are brands actually starting to ask for it, kind of expect this? Are we at that point yet, perhaps, where we're starting to see it become kind of almost the thing that the brand would ask for if they're looking at messaging? Or have we still got some education to go, do you think?
There's obviously a bit of education too. Not everyone's heard of it yet, but the announcement that Apple is coming on board has made a huge difference. So we've had a lot of interest since then.
Oh, really? Is that... I think I have heard anecdotally that it's gone from one of those things where brands perhaps aren't too sure to now they're actively asking for what is this technology. Are you hearing that? Is that...
We've definitely got much more interest since the information came out.
I know Apple's one of those topics that I start veering into dangerous territory with everyone on that one, so apologies.
Can't say more than that, but
we know as CPaaS providers, in reality, that RCS was, there was a huge hype on all of us starting to talk about RCS because of this Apple announcement. Let's face it, right? Yeah. And in reality, we know as well, because multiple brands refused to use RCS in the past with us, just because Apple was not supported. Hence this rich SMS, by the way, that I just talked about.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about that a little bit, really. I think, RCS it has some competitors, some pretty strong competitors in different parts of the world with OTT messaging. But I mean,
I don't know who you're talking about.
There's a slight meta in the room. But I think the point there is that RCS does have this trusted carrier ecosystem. How important do you see that to the pitch, and especially if Apple does come on board and we end up with this? Virginia,
For me, that's fundamental, because as I was explaining to Amelia, and potentially a bit of us leaking there, but in reality, we as consumers we trust much more the operators than anybody else. No offense to Google, no offense to Meta or any others. Yeah. But the operators have everything. All our information, we trust them, right, classically. So this level of trust is super important. And as well, for example, my parents use very frequently SMS because they trust that environment, which is today potentially an issue with the smishing and so on. But then naturally, they will move to RCS because it's in the inbox. WhatsApp is always something different that you would have to connect to, or any other OTT, by the way.
Do you find that that's quite consistent globally as well? I know sort of a lot of the OTTs, you'll have kind of pockets of where it's popular.
Yeah, and that's also the point of players like us on the multi-channel, right? You have to reach the people through the channel that they want to be reached to, and depending, by the way, on the use case. But therefore, this consistency of the operator trust and the operator relation is very important between the consumers, between us, and that's also important for Google. That's the reason why I think Google also ensure that they use the operators as a go-to market.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, moving it back to the case studies there, and seeing the evolution of how the campaigns have gone from outbound messaging to bringing in images and call to action buttons. What is it that brands can do by working with Sinch, and how do you help take a brand from, okay, I'm doing SMS today, I know what I'm doing, I don't need to get any design teams involved.
Exactly.
How do they go from there to what we've just seen?
That's very important, and this adoption is really key. So what we are doing at the moment is really ensuring that our customers can use the traditional SMS channel, and then we convert them into an RCS or some other OTTs potentially, but rather RCS, because we're in the RCS panel, right? So we convert them to RCS in what we call an RCS basic, and then that helps them to really understand how this works. Tease also the enterprise, but also educate the end user, because I think this education of the end user is something that we have to make as well. And then we usually start from that kind of redirections. We call it the SMS redirect. And thanks to that redirection, we then move towards the RCS single, and then hopefully with more and more conversations. Conversations is a bit more complex, as everybody understands. The use case is slightly different. But even for the basic, you also need a bit more work from the enterprise perspective, because you have to bring the content.
Yeah. Of course. Do you know, it's interesting you should say that. So I've, we all work in messaging, and one of those things you just kind of start taking for granted how to have a conversation, how to use your phone, what's possible. And I did recently ask some of my friends to do so, and they got stuck at the first hurdle. So we've definitely got some consumer, but that's a UK audience. I believe if I was in India or Brazil, my friends would probably have known exactly what they were doing. Yeah. And do you see that kind of reflected as well from your global view from Sinch?
Various. The markets are super different. I was in Brazil 2 weeks ago. You have WhatsApp everywhere. A very high penetration there, but also in Brazil only a few months ago for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we did an amazing campaign on RCS, and it hit massive volumes. So there is an appetite from the brands all around the world to use more rich messaging. Mm-hmm. So RCS is really one answer to that.
And we're seeing now that perhaps start to migrate into other countries, and it's not just these core pockets.
Yes.
Well, fantastic. Alex, I'd like to understand a little bit about how, the campaigns we saw today, how do you kind of go about creating them? What is it you look for in a campaign? Are you really focusing on the images? Is it the call to actions, or what is it that means the most to you?
I think a lot of CTAs are really important on the campaign, because we want to boost engagement and to have sales on the campaign. And also the brand awareness is really important for us, because do RCS messaging will expose our brand after that.
Yeah, got you. So again, being able to pull that, so a CTA call to action button.
Yeah, are really important. Call to action. Sorry.
No, absolutely fine. And do you link them straight into your website? Do you kind of take consumers straight to the product they're looking for?
And with tracking on it.
And with so you can see the whole journey from through to purchase.
Yeah, through to purchase.
Fantastic.
Yeah, amazing.
Brilliant stuff. Amelia, I think. What I'd be interested in is what does success look like in RCS to you? I mean, in this year, if we were perhaps sat here in a year's time, what would be a great story for you and perhaps speaking on behalf of operators generally?
I think a couple of things. Obviously, having a greater volume in campaigns, so having a large number of brands, having bigger volumes, that would be a real success. I hope that this time next year we'll be looking at compatibility with iPhone as well, and also that we'll be able to launch P2A. So at the moment, RCS is A2P, so the brand can send a message to the consumer. It doesn't work the other way around, or the customer journey is a bit more complicated. But that's more perhaps a question for Google. But we should have P2A coming on board online the next few months, I hope.
Well, let's touch on P2A a little bit there, if that's okay. What does P2A look like to you? Is that purely in app, brand directory? Are you seeing it more as like if I go to Google, I can search and start? What does P2A mean to you, and what are you looking for that?
Well, what brands tell us what they would like is to be able to have a click to conversation directly from their app or from their website. So if you're imagine you're on your phone, you're on the help page, you want to contact a brand of customer service, for example, you just click on a little button which would have the RCS logo or a chat logo, and you go directly through to a conversation which you can open up in your messaging client on your phone and have a direct conversation. You also the possibility to send photos. If there's I don't know, if you have a problem that you want to address, or they can send you a contract to sign. There are a whole lot of possibilities that are opened up with the RCS channel. Yeah. So a real game changer, I think, in the way that we use messaging as well. It's very much an A2P usage that we've seen developing over the last 10, 15 years, and a game changer will be the arrival of P2A messaging, so it'll go the other way around. Yeah,
fantastic. Oh, certainly a future I look forward to, being able to find messages and talk to them just by brands and talk to them, from their contact page. That'd be great. Jan, so, stepping back a little bit really I'd like to get your view on how Google have seen, I would like to think you see it as quite successful. We've seen some good numbers, and a billion users globally. What are you looking at next? What does this year hold for Google?
A few things come to mind. One, just kind of kudos to the ecosystem players for really making things like this happen. And it really took, I think, the combined effort of the carriers kind of aligning around RCS and RBM and having pricing consistency and having the right kind of formats, and also just the right kind of entry points to help brands kind of get started. That's obviously super important. The kind of the ecosystem of partners that enable brands like Sinch and others, it's really critical. And I think we've seen a lot of people experimenting, but now moving to the kind of the growth phase and the scaling phase. Okay, I've dabbled in it. I've proven that this is working. Now let me actually move the bulk of my brands and the bulk of my customers to this richer format, so that they can see the higher click-through rates, the higher conversion rates, the analytics, the telemetry, et cetera, et cetera. And then, obviously the brands, I think, are always keen to innovate and to try new things. I think, in particular, what gets me very excited is, just hearing so much enthusiasm for enterprises wanting to adopt AI. And, what is our AI strategy? How are we going to use AI for achieving our business goals and furthering our business goals? RCS, RBM, or generally business messaging is just such a kind of no-brainer place to start. It's relatively easy to completely kind of reconfiguring your internal processes. All the tools are kind of available. There's very healthy competition, lots of large language model providers, and obviously multiple kind of platforms to utilize them. So I'm just very excited to kind of connect the dots between that enthusiasm on behalf of brands. And here's a great tool for you to start kind of building out your AI strategy. I think that's really going to be a 2024, 2025 highlight for RCS and RBM.
Do we see, and I mean this really both to you and Amelia on this, that level of success probably brings a large number of brands, a large number of consumers. We're starting to see perhaps some of the scaling challenges that we all want to see, that sort of demonstrate success. How is Google and operators, how are you sort of looking to deal with some of the scale up? Is that working with the channel? Do you have plans with yourselves? How does that work?
Yeah, we sometimes, internally we kind of joke around. We have this reference to this notion of a champagne problem.
Yes.
So, there are some problems that are nice to have because it means you've achieved something. Yeah. And I think, things like spam and, people attempting to maybe send messages to users who haven't, opted in, things like that. Mm-hmm. I think that's an example of something that we really need to be extremely cautious about. And we are just seeing a lot more kind of efforts around, because the user base is so large now, and users, trust the channel. And obviously, with more smartphones coming online this year, it's only going to kind of get more and more important. So that's an absolute priority for us. It's something that we are really laser focused on, because we believe that for the long-term success of RCS and RBM, it has to be a clean, trusted, and highly reputable channel. And so that's kind of priority, 1, 2, and 3 for us right now.
Yeah.
And we absolutely want to make sure that we're kind of set up for success. And then everything else in terms of, the scaling, the tooling, making it easy to dynamically, create agents and things like that. That's obviously important as well, and we're investing there too.
And Amelia, I mean, with regards to dealing with lots of brands, and I suppose from your point of view, it's working with the channel partners like Sinch to kind of work with as many brands and bring them on board. Is that kind of the key strategy for operators, and how do you scale up with working with all the different brands?
We don't work directly with the brands. What we do is we work with the aggregators. We have a direct connection to them. Sorry, this thing's falling off. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it like that. Won't touch it. So we will connect with the aggregators or any other companies that want to act as a third party, and they will then talk to the brands. So we don't have a direct relationship with them for the time being. So we're looking mostly at aggregators, but we've also got some different players coming on board compared to SMS, which is quite interesting as well. We have some advertising agencies who would rather connect directly to the operator rather than going through aggregators. So we're seeing a slightly different setup to the one that we have on SMS today.
Yeah, I think this is it. It's quite this evolving landscape at the moment, isn't it? Which is, let's say, changes as the scale changes.
It's more creative. I mean, if you look at SMS, it's a great channel, but it's got 160 characters. It's black and white. All you can do is send a URL, a link in the message. RCS opens up a whole lot of possibilities. It's a really rich solution. You can add photos, videos, all kinds of things. So for creative companies, they very much want to get their hands on the actual media itself and be able to do things, play with it, which is very different from what you can do on traditional messaging channels or channels such as WhatsApp, which are much more basic.
Yeah, I think you hit on there the creative potential for agencies to be able to do wild things with this as a channel. I think one of the things that excite me most with it. And Virginia, if I can bring it back to Sinch, I mean, what is the future for this? Like, how far can we go with this as a channel? I mean, we mentioned AI there. What other sorts of cool things can we bring into RCS?
So the future is now, at first, because no, in reality, I've been in that business for a long time. We've all been talking about Join back in 2014, and then right now it's RCS that has been the hype for years and years, and it was not happening, right? Right now it's happening. There is a call to action. It's happening now, okay? So at first, things are really moving now. Then what's next is really to ensure that we work closely with the brands in order to bring the richness into a reality with something that brings something to the end user. That's the most important. And then the next is obviously the conversations. The P2A, what Amelia was saying is very important. What Jan was saying as well is AI is going to be key for that, because obviously if you want to have P2A, you need to have the appropriate bots and the appropriate actions around that. So this is where the future is going to be for me. That's where it's very exciting to get this interaction, and all of that will depend on the use case. And this is where it's very important that we work closely. And I'm very proud that we've been able to have that panel with, each and every part of the ecosystem there, because we need the brand to ensure that they come to us with their needs. We need to ensure that we work together with the operators and Google in order to have the appropriate means to make it happen at the appropriate price in the appropriate way. So that's what's exciting for the future.
Team effort.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Do we have any questions from the audience? I can see. No, not him. Michael.
Known faces.
Yeah, Michael Becker. So 2 questions. One is, I haven't heard you talk about the business models. Like, how do you actually charge for RCS? And particularly with the chatbot agent, how do we make sure we don't have unconstrained costs for the brand's perspective?
So, first, RCS is really based in transactions, on transactions today. RCS conversations is obviously based on one transaction that is valid for a certain number of time. It's usually 24 hours. So the charging highly depends on the markets and on the operators. That's where the problem for us as an aggregator, or much more the problem or where we useful is really to ensure that whatever the operator is charging, we have to consolidate all of that and make it simple to the brands, right? So that they have still the recovery of that basic single and conversations. And we make it simple for them. We do the clearinghouse, and potentially between different operators in the same country would have a different business model. That's our job, to do the clearinghouse, as we are doing today for SMS, by the way. Huh?
But to be more specific, though, I've heard like you have a 24-hour window.
For the conversations.
For the conversations.
Yes.
Like, how does a brand stop that? Because from a bot going nuts or a person engaging them and then having this unconstrained cost on the back end.
So then it comes into the bot conversation that you were mentioning, right? So the bot is really all about creating the bot with the brand, working on that, preparing this. So everything depends on the pricing model that you have. But usually, what we do have in campaigns like that, you have a setup fee and a kind of monthly fee on top of those transactional fees that you will have.
Thank you for that.
Does it answer your question? Yeah.
We have another question.
Okay.
I'll ask the top question that Michael did ask Google. We were at the RCS World in Paris, right? Put out the message about asking Google to jump onto the rich messaging. Now that there are some rumors, what is Google's take, and for the wider community, right? As expected from the operator community and others, there's a significant interest in having Apple as well in the mix. Just wanted to get your feedback.
Yeah, I mean, we've been supporting RCS for a very long time. Android was the first, I would say, large smartphone operating system to adopt it kind of globally, across all device makers, across all countries and geographies. We are very excited about playing an active role, but making it an ecosystem standards-based solution. And it's not always easy to get those two things right together, because each of them comes with pros and cons. But when done well, we actually think that some of the announcements that happened recently, and just generally the momentum around RCS, is really proof that this approach kind of is a good approach. And so, we're soon going to find ourselves in a situation where basically every smartphone in the world comes with RCS kind of out of the box, working there on day one, which is just amazing. Just a few years ago, that would have probably felt completely kind of unthinkable. And that just creates a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential. I think, to the questions around business model and, 24 hours and things like that, I actually would really think about it in a way of we're just kind of scratching the surface to some extent. And we might find that 24 hours is not the right time window, right? And we might find that, the kinds of experiences that become available through AI and people kind of having an interaction with AI just fundamentally change the notion of what that window, is and what it should be like, right? So I wouldn't get too kind of hung up on the notion of exactly how it works today. I think that the benefit we have is now we're kind of all holding hands together to make this successful. And if it requires kind of changing, the SKUs, if you will, or adapting pricing or being flexible here and there, I think we are kind of all invested in making it work together. So that's pretty great.
Michael, we have another question over there.
I was going to say, as long as you're all right for time, then we'll do one more question. Perfect.
Hi, I'm Gemma. I'm a product manager, and I have a question for Jan. In the last years, as product managers, we've been thinking on how to build the right thing, how to build the right feature. How do you think that with the rise of AI, this is going to change as our role of product managers? Do you think that tech companies, especially messaging platforms, will still need this kind of product manager, or it will be more technical, more backend engineers, and more people to train this AI to choose what to build next and how to build the right thing?
Yeah, a few things come to mind. So one, certainly the kinds of tools that are becoming available and that we are all, collectively starting to use, I think give any individual now just the ability to get so much more done, right? In terms of researching trends and understanding user behavior and trying to connect that to solutions. What perhaps in the past took, many people and many weeks or months is now becoming kind of almost instantaneous with, generative AI, where you can create the content, create the visuals, the actual UI, things like that. So I think that's pretty amazing. I think the other thing that comes to mind is just if you think about kind of the kinds of user experiences that we're all building as product managers, and thinking about things that are delightful for users and make users kind of happy and excited about using the product, things that deliver kind of productivity and efficiency. So whatever the user is trying to get done, now they'll be able to do it much faster and much better. And then third, from a kind of safety perspective, making sure that everything that we provide is safe, works consistently, doesn't have kind of unexpected behaviors. In each of those three domains, I think AI is just going to be like a huge power booster that will make it a lot easier to kind of ideate, prototype, deliver a first kind of MVP experience to users, and then quickly analyze the results, see the metrics, see what's kind of like A/B testing well and what isn't, and then taking it from there. So I think every single individual and all of us here will just be able to achieve much more with all these kinds of new tools coming online.
Fantastic. Well, I think we're probably at time. I think, unless I've got time for one more question, I'll just see if I can get Susan's. No, I think we are going to have to. But I mean, we're around afterwards, so if you've got any more questions, please do catch us. But I will just wrap up by saying thank you ever so much to the panel for coming and showing us some awesome case studies and talking us through how this, how RCS RBM is going to work for the mobile ecosystem.
Is working
for us as an ecosystem. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much to Sinch for this panel today, and to all of you for coming and viewing. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.